read numerous conspiracy theories, including the involvement of the CIA and the idea that Sirhan, who claims not to remember the shooting and pled insanity at his trial, was a Manchurian candidate. Again, I'm seeing that everywhere. For those of you that do not know what a Manchurian candidate is, it's okay. There's plenty of people that do not know what that is. A Manchurian candidate is somebody that's handpicked by not necessarily just the government, but a certain organization to do their bidding for them, basically making them a slave. A Manchurian candidate has a handler that follows them around, and when this person, the handler, gets the message from whatever corporation or the government or somewhere that they want to activate the Manchurian candidate, basically wanting them to do whatever task they've trained them to do, they give them a certain gesture, a sign, a word, a sound, and then this person goes straight into action and they can't think of anything else but doing what they were trained to do. So if they're going to kill the president, they're going to kill the president. And there's nothing that's going to stop them from doing it. So that's what they thought maybe Sirhan was a Manchurian candidate. Because of his superhuman strength, for one, after he had gotten caught. This guy was tiny as hell. But we're going to get into all of that. There's plenty of articles out there, like I said, that are supporting this. So let's look into all this stuff. The audio recording. Von Prague has added new weight to the two shooters theory. He reanalyzed the only audio recording of the shooting. The recording is poor, but it is possible to make out 13 shots over the course of 5 seconds. There was supposed to only be 4 shots, and Sirhan's gun was only supposed to be able to hold 8. So unless he was able to reload during all this while being tackled to the fucking ground, this is impossible. Or if there was return fire. That's the only thing I can think of, is that there was return fire, but the official story doesn't say that. And if there was return fire, why wouldn't they just come out and say it? Unless they possibly accidentally killed RFK. Like I was saying, that was basically what I believe happened to JFK. It's either Oswald was more than just a patsy, he was a whole puppet in this whole game, and then he got killed legally, and then he got sent off somewhere else, and he's either living somewhere else or died of old age. Either that, or he was accidentally killed by the Secret Service man that was trying to shoot at Oswald. So this could have been another case of him accidentally killing the presidential candidate. But the 13 shots over 5 seconds... Now, if they go into the actual, inconsistencies and everything like that, we don't need to go into down to the milliseconds and everything like that. If you want to go check this out, there are plenty of articles out there. But the main point is, it was impossible for Sirhan to be doing this alone. So the Manchurian candidate thing, I think that was only part of it. I think he was hypnotized or he was groomed to be this man that would just take the fall. He might not even fired a shot. He was just there at the wrong time. Or at the right time, actually, because the CIA wanted him there at that time. Why would they want him dead? For the same reasons they wanted JFK dead. RFK and JFK were really too good to be politicians, in my opinion. Now, we went over some of the inconsistencies in the actual official story. The woman in the polka dotted dress. This is the most popular theory with this, because even Sirhan has mentioned this woman. She might have been the person that actually killed Kennedy. And Sirhan was just right there at the right time, because they were molding him to be that person. Now, apparently this woman was right in the right spot to make the kill shot from 1 to 2 inches away from RFK's head. When you go back and you YouTube this and look at the footage, I've seen the footage, some of it at least. It's really hard to find like a really long video of the whole thing, but I've seen some of the footage, and the woman in the polka dotted dress is in the perfect place to hit RFK in the back of the head with this bullet. Because that is the fatal shot, is behind his ear. Now, how the hell did Sirhan shoot from the front and able to... This is another magic bullet shit, which the magic bullet shit we didn't mention in the JFK episode because it's bullshit. The magic bullet theory does not exist anymore because they found out that the limousine seats in that limo, the ones in the middle were in more. They were in towards the center more. So it actually lines up with the trajectory just right. The Warren Commission got that part right. They got pretty much everything else wrong because they wanted to. It was all a lie. But yeah, she was at the perfect place to hit Kennedy in the back of the head. And there's a witness, a hotel assistant, maitre d', Carl Euchler, who helped subdue Sirhan, said, I told authorities that, this is a quote from him, I told authorities that Sirhan never got close enough for a point-blank shot. Never. So he didn't get close enough to actually shoot that. So in my mind, I'll give my opinion at the end. But there's a 19-year-old waiter that said in a statement, when I first saw him, there was a girl behind him too. So they really believe there was that woman in the polka dotted dress. He described her as 21 to 24 years old, shapely, so a good-looking woman, and wearing a white dress with black and violet polka dots. Darnell Johnson, another witness, saw a woman in a polka dotted dress near Kennedy, and George Green said he saw her leave the scene with another man. 20-year-old Sandy Serrano spoke of a woman in a polka dotted dress running past her on a stairway with a young man. She heard the woman say, "We've shot him." Sergeant Paul Sharaga interviewed an elderly couple who were on the balcony outside the hotel's embassy room. They said, a young couple, this is a quote, a young couple, early 20s, came running from the direction of the embassy room, shouting, "We shot him, we shot him." Now, that could be taken in really any light. That could be taken in really any way. We could say we shot him as our society shot him, or it could be the literal meaning that we shot him. Documentarians Tim Tate and Brad Johnson believe they identified the mystery woman as Elaine Neal, born in Red Bluff, California in November of 1948. She divorced a number of times and died of alcoholism in 2012 at the age of 63. According to her third husband, on the anniversary of the assassination of RFK, Elaine would put on a polka dotted dress. What the hell? According to Tate, quote, all the evidence, ballistics, forensics, and eyewitnesses show Sirhan physically could not have fired the shots which killed Kennedy. Tate noticed how the autopsy revealed shots were fired from behind at no more than 3 inches. Again, but Sirhan never got closer than 3 feet and was always in front of RFK. Alright, now it's time for the Conspiracy Asylum to break it down. Let's figure this out. I'm going to give my opinion. You guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. You're more than welcome to hit us up with other theories. Go ahead, email us, theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com. It's not just Conspiracy Asylum, it's theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com. Or you can direct message me on Twitter. You can direct message us on Facebook. Anywhere. Direct message us and let us know. We didn't have a trivia question this week, by the way, so this was kind of just a bonus episode for you guys. My opinion is that Sirhan was a Manchurian candidate to a point. I do not think he fired a gun. I do not think he fired a weapon that night. I think he was under some type of hypnosis and was put in the right place at the right time. The woman in the polka dotted dress came from behind and shot Robert F. Kennedy that night. She ended a very great man's life and took him away from people like us that can never meet him. It's really sad. And after the killing, she fled out the stairwell. There's 2 different people saying the same thing, that she fled with another man, yelling, "We shot him." The fact that she puts on a polka dotted dress on the anniversary every year, that's crazy. Now, it might not be her, that Elaine Neal, but if it isn't her, that is a huge coincidence. I do believe the woman in the polka dotted dress is Elaine Neal. There is some evidence to hold it up, not a whole lot, but that's my personal opinion. The whole anniversary thing, putting on the polka dotted dress, that's really fucking creepy. Go ahead, hit us up. Remember, theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com, Twitter, Facebook. I want to hear your guys' opinions. All right, one last thing. Last week, we did the JFK episode, and we did a promo swap with True Paranormal, and I don't think I did him justice. I listened to his promo for us, and he went above and beyond. So Leo Rizzuti of True Paranormal Podcast, I'm going to play your podcast promo again, and I want to give my true opinions on everything. I really like your podcast. I like what you're doing over there. I like your style. I like the fact that you have real paranormal investigators and actual real people coming on and participating in the interviews. You have really good questions. You seem like a really smart guy. Thank you so much for all the support, because I'm just starting out on this. I'm a rookie, and you've been cooler than hell. So, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Leo Rizzuti. And this is the True Paranormal Podcast promo.
Do you have an experience with the paranormal? Do you have an event in your life that just can't be explained? Do your interests lie somewhere other than the mundane, day-to-day events of everyday life? My name is Leo Rizzuti. I am the host of True Paranormal, the podcast. Every week, we explore such areas as hauntings, poltergeists, doppelgangers, cryptozoology, haunted history, and demonic entities. We share listener stories, interview investigators, authors, and try to get the answers that a lot of folks are looking for based on decades of investigative experience. Connect with us on Twitter at True Para Podcast to share your experiences and be part of the show. And check out our broadcast every week on podcast.com/True Paranormal, the podcast.
So go ahead and check that podcast out. Conspiracy Asylum, stamp of approval, bomb-ass podcast over there. I like what he's doing. Once again, dude, thank you. Thanks to all my co-conspirators out there. I love you. Your padded cell is now open. You may leave. Love you, co-conspirators. Bye. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money for my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to do your podcast. First of all, what you do is you just download the app, and then you pick a name for your podcast, and then you just start recording. It's very easy. That's how I started this podcast, The Conspiracy Asylum. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.